Wonderful opportunity to sit together this morning. So, I'd like to start off with something that we've already heard. Our dear sister Emily shared it with us this morning a little bit, but this is the second part of the chant of compassion. May the infinite light of wisdom and compassion so shine within us that the errors and vanities of self may be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and awaken into spiritual peace. You know, there's something about that piece of that chant of compassion that calls to me all the time. It may call to you as well. You know, I kind of call it the secret sauce to life because all the answers seem to be right in there. And so this morning I thought, with no preparation, I will talk to you a little bit about challenges. There are some commonalities in being a human being in this world. Some of them are things that we share willingly, and some of them that we share that we don't want to share willingly, but that we just seem to be impacted by. And I can honestly say that I don't think there's a single one of us that is not impacted by challenges. How much time do you actually spend in your head? You know, when you think about it, you're spending time in your head, but as you go through the day, if you're living mindfully, you begin to become aware of how much alone time you do up here in the mind, thinking about things, thoughts coming, thoughts going, worries coming in, joys experienced, but they're all things that we kind of do quietly by ourselves. There's some things that we share in common. You know, that's kind of why I like music a lot, because music kind of brings a commonality for all of us to join together to experience it, especially if we'll all sing or if we'll all chant together. Whether we can carry a note or, like my father said, he couldn't carry a note in a bucket, it doesn't make any difference. It's just this commonality of sharing. Challenges, again, are something that we share, but that we don't share necessarily the same ones. We kind of have our favorite challenges, if you will, and some of them we choose to carry with us maybe even a lot longer than we had to. But there's something about it, these challenges, that connect with us and that reoccur in our thoughts, in our thinking, in our experience. We seem to have them. Maybe it's the challenge of anger. Maybe it's the challenge of sadness. Maybe it's the challenge of wanting to be liked or wanting to be popular. Whatever the challenges that we have, either shared or individually, there are challenges in our lives. And the path of this teaching, this Buddhist Dharma that we have become associated with in both our teachings and our sharing and in Sangha, is about this opportunity to grab onto some things that help us with our challenges. We can choose to carry these challenges in certain ways. Some of them are healthy, and some of them maybe aren't quite as healthy as we would choose to be. When I did my purpose this morning in that wonderful question that Min Dao offered us, was the purpose of my life at this point is to actually find and see clearly the defilements in my life that are keeping me from this concept of awakening or joy in my life. Why? I would really like to just run around like those frogs are in the streets, you know, just kind of enjoying myself and dancing and singing and having a great time. But there's lots of things in my own defilements, how I view things, how my thoughts wrap around my challenges and what they cause me in my life. There are tools and opportunities in this practice of Buddhism that we will have available to us at any moment. And that's why I think the Buddha was constantly stressing upon us that change can occur for us at any moment in time. All we have to do is to think about it differently, because as we are taught, what we think is what we become. I think that was something that Michael Gabriel shared with us today, that we become what we think. And so how do we choose to deal with these challenges, these constant thoughts that come into our mind? It is absolutely a challenge for each and every one of us. And again, habits become how we think about things. If we continually think about, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that, I dislike that, that will develop into something that is maybe not as healthy for us as if we chose some other path. And all of the Buddhist teachings, at least the ones that I am focused on in my living this life, are about ways of making choices that are different in our challenges. I mean, his very first teachings, the Four Noble Truths, told us, hey, you're going to have some unhappiness in your life. You're going to have some dissatisfaction in your life. And then the rest of all of these teachings just kind of dribble out, if you will, in ways that we can change how we think about things and how we approach things and how we choose to live our life. One of the greatest teachings that my teacher, the Thay taught me early on was this concept of metta, loving kindness. One of the things I tell people when they're struggling is, if you don't have an answer, try love. Just try love. That's always able to work, even though we don't think it will, or even though it seems much too simplistic. This concept of loving kindness, of sending out good wishes or taking good wishes into ourselves when we don't feel loved, is so important. And when in doubt, as Thay says many times, love more. Emily and I laugh sometimes. We have sort of a similar view on some issues of politics. And Cozen has worked very hard in and of himself to take this loving kindness, this metta, and apply it in a way that he can get beyond this neutral stage of love, just neutrality of love. I don't hate you, but I don't necessarily love you either, or I don't love it either. And those are very hard things to do. And this metta practice is such a simple thing, and yet we choose in our thoughts and in our actions and in our words different ways that are maybe not quite as succinct in loving as we possibly could. What gets in the way are all of those poisons, this greed, this illusion, this hate that gets involved, this dislike that gets involved in our life, our choices where we surround ourselves in our own selfishness, if you will, rather than opening ourselves up to this loving opportunities that exist all around us. And there are lots of tools in this practice that we have. And I encourage us all to become more familiar. Find the ones that really support you. Find the ones that will keep you afloat in rough times. The tool that we just experienced of 30 minutes of silence and quiet and sitting in meditation is one very dynamic way of approaching these. And maybe it's not a 30-minute sit for you sometimes, but can it be a 5-minute sitting quietly and just taking in breath, breathing in and breathing out, and just allowing the world to just simply pass by us like those thoughts that we talk about as clouds? Can we just simply love the moments that we're in? And what helps us do that? Lots of things in this practice. Gratitude, it's amazing. I start my check-ins with gratitude. Cozen always seems to, or the people that lead check-ins seem to start with this things of gratitude. I've recently retermed it in my own life as an attitude of gratitude. We want to know what we can be appreciative for. It lifts us out of any areas of despair or sadness that we have in our lives. It allows us to lift ourselves up and beyond so that love flows and that we have this opportunity to smile in this world and to simply see other people for the wonderful, wonderful creations that they are, to see ourselves as this wonderful creation that we are. That's why Cozen encouraged me, and I started doing it, and some people in my Sangha now are doing it as well, is pop out of bed in the morning and have this attitude of gratitude about, I know I have a special human life, and I'm not gonna waste it, because it is limited. We're only given so much time in this world, and it's this thing that we call life. And when something goes by us, we can't recapture it. We know that. It's in the past. And spending too much time on things up front, well, there's good things in planning, but we're again not spending time in this moment. In this particular moment, how can I love more? How can I love myself more? How can I love this world more? How can I love nature more? How can I love my fellow human beings more? And like the metta practice that Cozen has taught us, and that has become so integral in this practice that I take on in my life, and I know you are as well, it will lead us to a place of peace and joy that we can find in our lives that make this wonderful existence of our life the beautiful gift that it is. And so, my friends, in this beautiful Zoom Sangha, those are my words for you today, unprepared and maybe kind of scattered as they can be, but they're for you, and I send them with love.